God's advice today. Have you ever felt that God is trying to speak to you, yet in the busyness of life, His signs go unnoticed? This message invites you to pause, reflect, and open your heart. Perhaps this is exactly what you needed to hear today. Watch until the end with openness, and if these words touch you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to receive more messages like this. Don't forget to check the pinned comment for a 1-minute prayer and a recommended message to help strengthen your faith even more. God said, "My beloved son, today I remind you of what silence tried to make you forget. I have always been there. When everything seemed motionless, when answers did not come and the sky felt closed, my care never ceased for a single moment. I saw every step taken in fear, every decision made with a weary heart, every night when you asked for strength just to keep going. Silence was not abandonment, it was shelter. I protected you from paths that seemed right but would have wounded you. I guarded you from hasty answers that would have stolen what I was maturing within you. While you thought nothing was happening, I was strengthening your faith, healing your emotions, and aligning people, times, and circumstances. No prayer was ignored, no tear was wasted. Everything was gathered, weighed, and transformed into learning and growth. Do you feel that you are ready for a deep change in your life and in the lives of those you love? Sometimes all we need is a small step of faith to open the doors of abundance, peace, and the blessings God has already reserved for us. A simple 1-minute prayer can be the beginning of a spiritual journey that transforms the inside and reflects on the outside. If you desire to attract more light, balance, and prosperity, spiritual and material, click on the first comment. There you will find a simple practice, guided with love, that can help you connect more deeply with the divine presence in your life. Silence was my way of teaching you to trust beyond what you see, to rest beyond what you understand. Today you can look back and realize that, even without visible signs, I kept you standing. It was my hand that prevented the fall, my voice that calmed your heart, my love that kept you spiritually alive. Therefore, declare with faith and conviction, allowing this truth to strengthen other hearts: God has always been with me, even in the silence. You thought the sky was closed because you did not hear immediate answers, but I was carefully organizing the setting of the miracle that would change your story. There are processes that cannot be rushed because they require a deep inner rearrangement. I needed to align your faith with truth, strengthen roots that were still fragile, and touch wounds you tried to ignore but that were still bleeding in silence. If I had released the promise before the right time, the weight of what you asked for would have crushed your emotional and spiritual structure. That is why I waited. It was not neglect or distance, it was responsible love. While you believed you were merely surviving difficult days, I was transforming the way you see life, feel pain, and trust in me. Silence was the environment where your faith stopped depending on signs and began depending on relationship. There you learned to rest even without understanding. Silence was never abandonment, it was strategy, care, and protection. Everything that seems like delay today was, in truth, preparation so that you would not only receive, but remain standing when the promise arrives. Comment: God's silence is care, not rejection. The waters of your story never dried up, even when everything around you seemed still and lifeless. What you interpreted as stagnation was, in fact, movement in the depths. While your eyes saw only silence, I was stirring the invisible, rearranging paths, and preparing encounters that could not yet happen. There are works I do in secret, far from noise, far from human confirmations. As it is written, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 7. There are changes that make no sound, yet completely alter destinies. The miracle is always born first in the invisible before becoming tangible at the right time. When you felt that nothing was changing, I had already begun transformations that no obstacle could stop. I do not work under the pressure of human urgency, but under the perfection of eternal timing. I am not late. I prepare every detail so that, when the answer comes, it arrives complete, firm, and irreversible. What I begin, I finish. Comment, even without seeing it, I believe God is at work. You looked at your own life and saw repetitions, similar days, promises that seemed increasingly distant. But what you called a tiring routine, I called necessary maturity. I needed to strengthen your inner life so that your victory would not be fragile or temporary. I did not form you to live only in tense moments that soon fade, but to sustain an entire season of fullness, balance, and peace. While you waited for an external, visible, and immediate change, I was working silently on who you were becoming inside. I was shaping your patience, refining your faith, healing your identity, and teaching you to remain firm even when nothing seemed to happen. Time did not paralyze you, it refined you. Each seemingly identical day built a foundation that you do not yet fully perceive, but that will sustain everything that is to come. You were not forgotten in the process, you were carefully prepared. What lies ahead requires maturity, consistency, and depth, and that is built only with time and faithfulness. Comment, God is preparing me for something greater. Did you know that there is an effective method to attract greater financial prosperity? This technique can help transform your deep-seated beliefs and change the way you perceive reality. It had a profound impact on my life, and we would like to invite you to explore this special practice. When we trust that God wants to act in our lives, we gain the courage to ask Him directly. God desires to bless each of us in a unique and wonderful way. That's why it's important to seek His blessings with faith and confidence, believing that He has a special plan for you. If you would like to support our work and the team dedicated to bringing content that inspires and transforms, we invite you to check out our product. The link is available in the first comment, so you can discover how this technique can also help you on your journey. Your contribution helps us continue sharing messages that make a difference. We deeply appreciate your trust and support. My son, listen with an attentive heart. None of the promises I made to you have grown old, lost their strength, or been forgotten by time. No word that came from me fell into emptiness or was lost along the way. Just as it is written, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for peace and not for evil." Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11. What I declared over your life remains alive, active, and in motion, even on the days when you doubted, grew weary, or thought about giving up. My faithfulness does not fluctuate with your mood, nor does it depend on your emotional or spiritual strength. When you grow weak, I remain firm. When your faith wavers, my word still stands. I sustain what I promise, because I do not change and I do not fail. Time may seem long, it may hide the seed beneath the soil and make you believe that nothing is happening, but it never cancels the harvest I prepared. Silence did not annul what I said, it only protected the process. Every promise remains intact, waiting for the right time to bloom in fullness. Trust this, what I spoke will still be fulfilled, at the exact moment, in the right way, and with results that will exceed your expectations. Therefore, declare with faith and renewed hope, God's promises are still alive. While you believed you were only waiting, I was carrying out a deep transformation within you. Each day of silence worked on areas that words could not reach. While you asked for clear answers, I taught you to trust without proof, to rest without visible guarantees. You wanted external signs, immediate confirmations, but I was building internal convictions, firm and unshakable. Because when the miracle arrives, and it will arrive, you will need spiritual structure to remain standing and not collapse under the weight of what you asked for. It was never only about receiving promises, it was about sustaining what I would place in your hands. The process was not punishment, it was preparation. It was not delay, it was maturity. Every challenge strengthened your faith, every weight deepened your trust, every silence refined your spiritual sensitivity. You did not leave this path weaker, you left more aware, more grounded, and more aligned with my purpose. What seemed like weariness was, in truth, invisible strengthening. Today you endure what once would have broken you. Today you believe where you once would have doubted. Acknowledge with faith what is already happening within you and declare, "The process is strengthening me." I never wasted a single one of your tears. None fell without meaning, none went unnoticed by my attentive eyes. As it is written, "You keep track of all my sorrows, you have collected all my tears in your bottle." Psalm 56 verse 8. Every pain you thought was useless became a seed in the spiritual realm. What wounded your soul opened space for my healing to act deeply. What tried to paralyze you pushed you closer to me. You did not cry in vain. Each tear watered areas within you that needed to bloom with maturity, sensitivity, and spiritual authority. I used what hurt you to strengthen you, what humbled you to teach you dependence, and what broke you to rebuild you better. Your pain did not define you, it prepared you. Today you carry discernment where there was once confusion, and faith where fear once lived. I transform wounds into testimonies and tears into eternal purpose. Believe this truth and declare with conviction, God transforms my pain into purpose. The silence that troubled you was the same silence that confused those who rose up against you. While you rested in tears, I fought invisible battles on your behalf. Paths were opened without your noticing. Doors were unlocked in the spiritual realm while you were simply trying to survive. Chains were broken while you slept. Traps were undone without your eyes seeing them. There are victories that make no noise, yet completely change the course of a story. You will understand many things only later, when you look back and realize that you were carried precisely in the moments when you thought you were alone. I fought when you had no strength. I spoke when you fell silent. I advanced when you thought everything was standing still. You were never abandoned. Even without realizing it, my hand was upon you, guarding you, defending you, and leading you forward. Rest in this truth and proclaim with faith, God fights for me even when I do not perceive it. Before your eyes. As it is written, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 30 verse 5. The season changes at the appointed time. The wind shifts by my breath. Heaven opens when the purpose is mature. Nothing you endured in silence was wasted. Every restrained tear, every whispered prayer, every night when you simply held on will become a living testimony of my care. You will not come out of this process broken, diminished, or weakened. You will come out refined, strengthened, and more aware of who I am in your life. The fire did not destroy you, it purified you. The pressure did not crush you, it prepared you. What once felt like a burden will become honor, and what seemed like delay will reveal direction. You will see that everything worked together to lead you into a new level of maturity, faith, and spiritual authority. Lift your eyes, because the dawn has already begun. What I promised is closer than you imagine. Declare with faith, aligning your heart with what is already in motion, my new season is coming. Nothing was in vain. Nothing was lost. I remain the God who fulfills, who restores, and who transforms. Walk forward with confidence, even if you do not yet see everything clearly. Breathe with faith, even when the moment still calls for patience. What I began in your life, I myself will finish, because my works are never incomplete. You are not late. You are not outside the timing or the plan. You are exactly at the point where my promise meets your maturity. The process brought you here so you would be ready not only to receive, but to remain. And when everything is finally revealed, you will understand that the silence was not emptiness, it was gestation. It was there that the miracle took shape, gained strength, and found direction. The noise will come later, as celebration. For now, trust. I know exactly what I am doing with your story. Rest in this truth and declare with full surrender, I fully trust in God's timing and in His work. My beloved son, even now the heavens are not still concerning you. What you call delay is not absence, and what you interpret as silence is not neglect. I am active where your eyes cannot reach. I am breathing intention into moments you thought were empty, and purpose into days you judged as repetitive. The waters of your life are not stagnant, they are being stirred with precision and care. I do not rush what must mature, and I do not abandon what I have begun. Every promise spoken over you remains alive, carrying my signature and my timing. Before seas open, they often grow quiet. That quiet is not refusal, it is anticipation. I am teaching you to recognize my movement not only in thunder, but also in stillness. What feels like waiting is actually alignment, and alignment always precedes manifestation. You have wondered if you were alone, if you were overlooked, if your prayers dissolved into the air. But I tell you the truth, you have been surrounded, guarded, and held. I have not released you from my hands for even a breath. When you felt weakest, I was closest. When you felt forgotten, I was arranging protection you did not ask for because you did not know you needed it. I am preparing to reveal myself again in ways that will surprise your expectations. The places where you once sank will become the ground where you stand with confidence. What threatened to consume you will become the testimony that sustains you. I am not rewriting your story to erase the past, I am redeeming it to empower your present. The waters that frightened you will soon carry you forward. Understand this, not every storm is correction. Some storms are invitations to rise. There are winds I allow, and winds I personally send, not to destroy you but to dislodge you from places where you settled too soon. You asked me for answers, and I answered with movement. You asked me for clarity, and I answered with transition. Change is uncomfortable when you cling to familiarity, but transformation requires motion. Do not mistake motion for disorder. I do not create chaos, I create progression. I rearrange what is out of place, remove what no longer serves you, and introduce what will sustain you in the next season. If the scene is changing, it is because the story is still being written. Your name is known to me, and it is written across the waters you fear. Just as I moved healing waters in ancient days, I am moving the depths of your life now. You are not waiting for an external miracle to descend, I have already come close. The touch that changes everything is rising from within you. My spirit is stirring your heart, awakening what was dormant, healing what time wounded, and reigniting what pain tried to extinguish. You have grown accustomed to the sound of waiting, so much so that it became familiar. But familiarity does not define permanence. There comes a moment when waiting gives way to witness, when prayer gives way to fulfillment, and that moment is approaching. This is a time of activation. The unseen is being instructed, and what was postponed is being updated. Nothing you endured was wasted. The desert taught you endurance, the silence refined your hearing, and the tears planted seeds you did not know were growing. Every cry carried weight, every prayer released authority. I transform what cannot be seen into what cannot be denied. While the world rests, I am working. While discouragement whispers, I am sustaining you. When you assume nothing is happening, heaven is in motion on your behalf. Barriers are loosening, resistance is weakening, and what seemed immovable is being repositioned. The impossible is not being destroyed, it is being reordered. You will notice doors opening not randomly, but intentionally. Answers will come layered, confirmations will appear connected, and help will arise from places you never expected. Those who once overlooked you will become instruments of blessing, not because they changed their minds, but because I changed the alignment. When heaven moves, circumstances adjust. Calm your heart and learn to sense it. There is a sound returning to your life, the sound of flow, of rhythm restored, of timing realigned with promise. What you hear is not noise, it is life resuming its course. It is the natural responding to the supernatural. It is the echo of my faithfulness breaking into your now. What I am bringing you into is not a repetition of what was, but the fulfillment of what always was intended. It will exceed what you asked, arrive sooner than you calculated, and unfold more perfectly than you planned. Do not reduce the size of my work to the limits of your imagination. The miracle is not approaching from a distance, it is already in motion. You do not see it yet because it is still forming at the surface, but the shift has already occurred. Once the invisible moves, the visible must follow. I am not waiting for you to be ready, I am waiting for you to believe. Faith is the signal that releases manifestation. When you declare trust, the waters respond. There will come a day when you stand in places you once feared and speak with a voice you once silenced. Your life will become a signpost for those who lost hope. You will look back and understand that the silence was not emptiness, but preparation. Your waiting was not wasted time, it was training ground. Faith that grows in the dark develops roots no storm can uproot. This season was not a detour but the most direct path to a strength you did not know you possessed. I am still moving the waters for you, and nothing can stop what I have set in motion. Remain steady. What is unfolding now will confirm that I have been with you every step, and I always will be. My beloved son, there was a season when uncertainty surrounded you like a dense fog, when nothing ahead seemed clear and every step required courage without guarantees. Yet that very uncertainty became a lighthouse, not only for you, but for others who would later look at your life and find direction in it. What you forged in the days when everything felt contradictory became the column that now sustains your destiny. The certainty that grew inside you did not come from easy answers, but from choosing to believe when logic failed you. What you sense now is not merely a change of circumstances, it is the alignment of your outer reality with a truth that had already taken root within you long ago. I was preparing you not only to receive what is coming, but to steward it with wisdom, humility, and discernment. You were being trained in silence, shaped in hidden places, strengthened in ways no applause could ever provide. While you thought nothing was happening, everything was happening. I was weaving resilience into your spirit, vision into your patience, and depth into your faith. What is opening before you now could never have been sustained by the version of you that existed before the wait. This is why the process mattered. This is why the path was narrow. This is why the fog did not lift immediately, because you needed to learn how to walk by inner light, not by visible certainty. Your endurance has spoken louder than any sermon. Your quiet resistance became a living gospel. Your calm in the midst of delay testified that heaven is real, even when earth feels unresponsive. While you believed no one noticed your faith, the unseen realms were shaken by your refusal to give up. There is immense power in remaining firm when everything around you screams for surrender. Staying became the miracle before the miracle. Each day you chose not to abandon hope, you were declaring victory long before the outcome appeared. You learned that faith is not proven when prayers are answered quickly, but when trust remains intact in prolonged silence. You discovered that strength is not loud, it is steady. And that steadiness unsettles darkness more than dramatic displays ever could. Your perseverance confused the very forces that expected you to break. Instead, you grew roots. You learned how to stand without constant reassurance, how to breathe without immediate relief, how to trust without visible proof. This is not common faith, this is refined faith. It is forged in delay, tempered in disappointment, and crowned with quiet confidence. What you endured has already shifted more than you realize, because endurance carries authority long before reward arrives. Time passes, seasons change, people come and go, but my promise remains untouched. I do not revise what I have decreed. What belongs to you does not expire, it matures. Waiting is not wasted time, it is the season in which fruit develops its true flavor. A fruit harvested too early is bitter, but one allowed to ripen nourishes multitudes. I did not make you wait to punish you, but to multiply you. Every delay was adding substance to what you would one day carry. I was protecting the promise from being placed into unprepared hands, even if those hands were your own at the time. I saw what would come with the blessing, and I knew you needed depth to sustain it. Had it arrived sooner, it might have distracted you, diminished you, or even consumed you. So I taught you to value growth over speed, depth over appearance, and obedience over outcome. The wait enlarged your capacity. It stretched your vision. It taught you how to carry joy without pride and responsibility without fear. When the fulfillment comes, you will recognize that not a single moment was lost. Every second of silence was an investment, every unanswered prayer a deposit into a future that now stands ready to unfold. What comes after this season will be so abundant that you will understand every quiet moment as divine strategy. When you asked for haste, I saw the risk of you losing yourself in the blessing. When you pleaded for immediate answers, I saw the danger of you becoming captivated by results instead of anchored in relationship. The human heart is easily dazzled by what is visible and forgets what is eternal. I needed to teach you to love me for who I am, not only for what I do. What you gained in the waiting is greater than what you will receive in the miracle. A miracle has a moment, character has a lifetime. The miracle concludes when it manifests, but the character formed in waiting remains forever. You have been worked on internally, and that is why you are now ready to receive externally. Nothing about you is ordinary anymore. Your discernment is sharper, your humility deeper, your gratitude purer. You no longer chase signs, you recognize presence. You no longer demand proof, you trust purpose. This inner transformation is the true treasure of the wait, and it will safeguard everything that is about to be placed in your hands. Your path is marked by purposes that time alone could reveal. I allowed you to move slowly so you could notice details that the hurried never see. Your spiritual sensitivity grew because you learned how to observe, how to listen, how to discern beyond surface appearances. There is a wisdom that is born only at the pace of patience. This is why your seasons were long, because what I am building with you is not instant, it is eternal. You were not delayed, you were being educated. You were not forgotten, you were being refined. The slowness trained your eyes to see beyond urgency, your heart to rest beyond anxiety, your mind to trust beyond control. You learned that not every door must be forced, not every answer rushed, not every silence feared. You discovered that stillness can be as productive as movement when it is guided by trust. This wisdom will now serve you well, because you will recognize timing where others see chance, purpose where others see coincidence, and calling where others see only opportunity. Your heart has grown lighter, your faith steadier, your soul more mature. This is the fruit of waiting. You believe you lost your brilliance, but I was polishing you. A diamond does not shine while it is still raw stone, it must endure friction. That is what this season was for you. Every delay, every night of unanswered questions, every moment of weariness was shaping your essence. Now you shine, not with excitement, but with substance. Not with emotion, but with consistency. The glow of mature faith is not extinguished by wind, because it comes from a flame kindled by time. I was with you in every season. I was there when you cried in frustration and when you prayed without strength. I was there when you remained silent to avoid hurting others and when you endured what you did not understand. Every silent moment was a dialogue in my language. Every time you restrained your words and chose trust, I watched with delight. Heaven rejoices when someone learns to wait in peace. Earth is transformed when someone chooses to trust in the midst of doubt. The waiting ends when purpose is fulfilled, and that purpose is now about to be revealed. What felt like obstruction was propulsion. Doors that seemed closed were protecting you. People who walked away were making room for what is arriving. Everything has been orchestrated, even the silence. There was intention in every step that brought you here. What comes next will not be just an answer, it will be a harvest. What I am moving now is not small, it is deep. It is not temporary, it is lasting. The waters are stirring again, not to frighten you, but to carry you forward. The wind you feel is not a threat, it is direction. What you called delay, I called rhythm. What you called desert, I called pathway. You are exactly where you need to be, at the center of my will. When what is about to happen unfolds, you will understand every tear, every pause, every moment of waiting. You will not only receive the promise, you will become a guide for others. Your story will carry authority, your faith will become an inheritance, and your patience will teach generations how to trust in what cannot yet be seen. My beloved son, everything you have lived has not been wasted, not a single tear, not a single silent night, not a single moment when you felt suspended between hope and exhaustion. Each experience became substance, depth, and truth within you. When you speak now, those who listen will not be moved by fleeting emotion, but by something far stronger, truth refined by time. That is why I tell you, stop complaining about the length of the journey. Time was not your enemy, it was your instructor. Waiting shaped your discernment, strengthened your roots, and taught your heart how to remain steady when nothing seemed to move. What you called delay was preparation. What you called stillness was alignment. And the result of this long season will not be humiliation, but honor. When I stir the waters, I do not only move circumstances, I reposition destinies. I recalibrate paths, awaken dormant callings, and redirect futures that were waiting for the precise moment to unfold. You were not forgotten in the stillness, you were being crowned in secret. What approaches you now is not chaos, but restoration in motion. Nothing around you will remain frozen, because stagnation does not survive where my breath passes. What was blocked will begin to flow again. What appeared dry will show signs of life. What slept will awaken. I am the God who works deeply in silence, and that silence has fulfilled its purpose. The sound you are beginning to perceive is not noise, it is the return of movement. The waters are shifting, currents are forming, and they are moving specifically toward you. Even if your eyes still search for evidence, your spirit already recognizes the change. The atmosphere around your life is no longer heavy, it carries expectancy. What once felt like resistance will now feel like cooperation. You are stepping into a season where movement will feel natural, not forced, because I am the one initiating it. You are sensing a new strength rising within you, not loud or impulsive, but calm and assured. It comes from a depth only suffering can excavate. The trials you endured carved reservoirs inside you capable of holding grace without spilling into fear. You are no longer ruled by storms, because you learned how to locate stillness at the center of turbulence. Your voice, once hesitant, now carries weight, not because it is louder, but because it is anchored. Truth forged in obscurity has a gravity that cannot be imitated. You no longer speak to impress, you speak to reveal. And what you reveal carries healing. You have become someone who understands pain without being defined by it, someone who has walked through uncertainty and emerged with wisdom rather than bitterness. This is strength refined, not borrowed. Your words will now function as seeds. They will fall into places you never expected and take root where nothing else survived. They will grow not because of eloquence, but because they are watered by authenticity. The light you carry does not blind others, it guides them. It does not demand attention, it offers direction. Your presence itself will become a signal, not dramatic, not overwhelming, but reliable. Like a lighthouse that never moves, never shouts, yet saves countless lives simply by being there. People will draw near not because you advertise hope, but because they feel it resting on you. This is how I work through those who have learned endurance. Constancy is louder than spectacle, and faithfulness outlasts applause. The world is not in need of performances, it is longing for witnesses. It does not require elaborate stages, but lives that testify quietly to my faithfulness. Lives that show I do not arrive late, but precisely on time. You have become that testimony. Without forcing it, without striving for recognition, your story speaks. The waters have already begun to move on your behalf. Things that once felt immovable are responding now, vibrating under my command. You may not yet see the full picture, but you can feel the shift beneath your feet. What was rigid is softening. What resisted is yielding. This is not coincidence, it is obedience to my voice. Around you, small signs are emerging, though many could be overlooked if you only expect the extraordinary. You are learning that heaven rarely announces miracles with noise. It prefers gentleness. A subtle opening. A timely word. An unexpected encounter. A memory resurfacing at just the right moment. The leaf moves before the wind is felt. In the same way, these details are signals, not random events. They are whispers of alignment. I have placed gestures, conversations, reminders, and opportunities before you, each one carrying meaning. They are currents you cannot see, yet they are already shaping the direction of your path. Pay attention, not with anxiety, but with reverence. These invisible currents confirm that movement has begun. As you observe with spiritual awareness, you will notice how what once drained you no longer has the same power. Situations that exhausted your soul are losing their grip. People who consumed your energy without giving life are being gently removed. Thoughts that once tormented you are quieting. This is not because you have changed everything, but because I am clearing the atmosphere around you. I am preparing the path before the promise arrives. A river cannot flow freely when stones block its course. I am removing each obstacle, one by one, often without your awareness. Some things are leaving your life, not as loss, but as release. Space is being created for what is coming. At the same time, certain things are returning. Old promises, forgotten dreams, abilities you set aside to survive. All of this is part of the same movement. The river is reclaiming its course. The season of paralysis is over. Blessings once delayed by fear, guilt, or unhealed wounds are being freed. What once required strain will soon feel effortless. What demanded constant effort will now flow by grace. You will sense lightness where there was weight, clarity where there was confusion, peace where there was struggle. Understand this, I am not only bringing miracles, I am bringing transformation. The miracle opens the door, but transformation is the journey beyond it. The deepest movement is the one that reshapes your heart while your story is being rewritten. You will begin to notice that ordinary moments carry new brilliance. A simple conversation will resonate differently. A memory will return as an answer. A song, a phrase, a quiet moment will suddenly feel charged with meaning. Nothing will be accidental. These are confirmations that heaven is active in your life. Learn to recognize the beauty hidden in small details, because the supernatural does not interrupt life, it inhabits it. You will feel a sacred restlessness, a desire to begin again, to realign, to renew. Do not resist it. It is my spirit guiding you forward. The time of standing still has ended. The river is moving, and it will carry you to where the promise blooms. You asked, and I listened. You waited, and I prepared. You persevered, and I moved. Now you will see. I hope this message has been an inspiration to you. If it touched your heart, write Amen in the comments and share it with someone who also needs to hear this word. I invite you to click on the first comment, where you will find a special prayer and a suggestion to strengthen your spiritual journey. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more inspiring content like this. See you tomorrow.